What's up? What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jaison, and you're listening to the Brand Identity Design Business Podcast. Let's actually do a sound check. Give me a thumbs up, guys, if you can hear me loud and clear. Is the voice too high, too low? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and if I'm audible. Awesome. I see a couple of thumbs up, and I see my good friend Lenny down in the audience. Lenny, you're welcome to come up as we brainstorm and have this monologue. Raise your hand. Feel free to join the stage if you are in a good spot. All right. So again, welcome to the Brand Identity Design Business Podcast. My name is Jaison. I am a professional brand identity designer myself. Okay. And today we will be discussing about branding for small business owners. As small business owners, many small business owners, they have this question, what is the role of branding? Does it contribute to a company's success? Is really branding necessary? When you should invest in it? What the hell is branding overall? So what I have done is that I have created a PDF. It's like an ebook, and I have distilled and curated all my thoughts of what I feel about branding in general. So you can actually go through the event comments, click on the three dots on this audio event. You will see the event comments, and you will see a nice picture of me, and you would see something called as customer ebook. I would recommend you folks to actually download this ebook and use this as a reference point of this discussion which I'm having with you right now. Now, remember, the ebook is very comprehensive and it goes through a lot of depth and detail. So take your sweet time if you want to refer to it. And even if you don't check it right away, it's also cool. Customer ebook, and you should be able to find it under the event comments. If you're not able to find it, once this podcast is done, just DM me. I'll send you the links. You should be able to find it pretty spot on under event comments. Okay, so this is going to be a monologue. I have actually not done monologues, personally. So I'm also in the learning phase. So it's possible the information can be like a dump. Bear with me. I'm trying to find that sweet spot which makes it quite engaging and informative at the same time. So work with me on this. So I'm a brand identity designer again. I help entrepreneurs create unique, memorable visual identities that kind of reflects their brand and helps them to stand out in the industry. Business owners who want to stand out, those are the people who generally hire me. And I have done projects in aerospace, automotive, wellness, radio, entertainment, banking, broadcasting, retail. I don't know. I have lost count. I have done over 250 projects or so. A nice, decent experience, I feel so. So today, the show outline, and I know many of you folks are actually here to get context on what I'm trying to say. The topic does appear all right. So I think we are having a technical glitch here. Okay. I don't know what happened, but I think I lost the connection in between. Give me a thumbs up, guys, if you can still hear me. Send me thumbs up emojis if you can hear me. Okay. So what I was saying just a while back is that I'm going to give you the outline of today's conversation. I'm going to be discussing why small business owners don't invest in branding. Okay, is branding really necessary when it comes to the growth of a company and its success? Okay, when should small business owners invest in branding? What is branding and what isn't? And why should companies think of investing in branding or should consider investing in branding? Maybe the title of this conversation gives you like a negative aspect towards it. I'm not jeopardizing that branding is not important, but I think many marketers and designers such as myself, Okay, we are influencing you in the wrong way. I don't think branding is necessary for all businesses which are out there. When you start up a business, it's not necessary that you need branding. There are many other attributes and things you should focus on as a business owner and gradually consider branding. So please do not think, being a designer myself, I'm saying branding is not important. That's not the idea. We're just challenging it, and I'm trying to give you guys a different perspective. So let's deep dive into this conversation. Why small business owners don't invest in branding? And according to me, when I actually thoroughly sought and when I sat down and I was thinking, I came up with two specific reasons, which is the prominent ones. The first one is COGS, and the second one is CAC. So COGS stands for cost of goods sold, and CAC stands for customer acquisition cost. So for some companies, especially who are selling low price commodities with low profit margin, the cost of investing in branding would outweigh the potential benefit in terms of increased sales and loyalty. They simply can't go beyond their daily operation. Because they have limited margins, limited structure, so the cost of the product itself, which is sold in the market, does not allow them to look at the benefit of branding. This is one reason why small businesses don't invest in it. Second, which I was referring to, is CAC, customer acquisition cost. What this means is that the cost of acquiring a customer can be quite high for some businesses, particularly the ones which are operating in competitive markets or markets with limited marketing budget. In such cases, these companies would prioritize investing in other areas of business, such as maybe product development, maybe customer service, or maybe customer experience, or something else. Okay, so they are not, they don't have any reason to focus on branding at this moment of time, because they're focused on something else. These are the two core reasons, and I think these two reasons inspire and reflect on the other reasons. So the other reasons which I listed down is financial bandwidth. Building a brand, it's not like a one-time investment as many designers or marketers say it is. It does require a lot of money, and it's about spending money over the course of time, because brand building does not happen in a day. It can even take decades or even more. It takes time. So it's not just investment of money. You need to be consistent. You need to offer it time. You never know how customers are going to perceive you towards the end. So it takes time. If you don't have the budget, or businesses who don't have the budget may not look at branding as an option. Okay, another reason I can think of is entrepreneurs. Many of them are very hesitant and resistant to change. Some people are very traditional. They are like, we've been doing this business for a long time and we have been doing it so and so. We don't necessarily see a reason to invest in branding. Okay. I'm not saying that all businesses think in this manner, but I have come across many companies who are slightly traditional and old school, and they feel that if we go ahead and invest in branding, that would alter the company's overall identity and its operation. Okay, so that's another reason they are hesitant. They fear the change is not good. Some business owners don't really have access to expertise. Okay, they don't even know how to develop or execute a strategy. They may not have the right talent in house, or they don't know how to find it. Okay, because everybody says they are good, but it's difficult to identify who is actually good and who can really help. Okay, another reason which I can think of is differentiation. Some businesses operate in a market. Okay, they might be offering a product or service which is not really unique. Okay, they don't see a value in investing in branding because they don't necessarily want to stand out. They want to be the same as their competition. So these business owners would not invest in branding. The fourth reason I can think of, not fourth, but another reason which I can think of, certain kind of industries, it's actually a norm that they don't necessarily invest in branding. So I have, to give you some context, I have had a client who wanted to do branding, but he was in the welding industry and somewhere in the plumbing industry. There was also another business owner which I spoke with who he used to cut, not cut, but chop, not chop, remove trees from one location to another. I think it's called some RB something. I don't remember the exact name. But this is also another business. These owners don't necessarily need branding. Their industry can just function just the way it is, and people will be able to accept it. If you look at a plumber, an electrician, or a painter, you're not magically going and asking them because they have a nice brand. You are focused more if the work is done properly or not. If such business owners were to approach me or any other designer, people such as ourselves, we would tell them the importance and the benefit of branding. But I want to be very realistic with you. When we say this, we come from an area wherein we just are very fascinated with branding. We just feel we should offer you this as a solution to solve your problem, to help you differentiate. But you don't necessarily need it. What I'm trying to say is that we're just trying to sell it. So that's why I'm just trying to explain this is because not all businesses require branding. So let's move on to the next point. When should a small business invest in branding? Okay, there are a couple of factors you should consider when investing in branding. So top reason should be if your business is experiencing growth and if you want to expand your customer base, investing in branding would make sense because it's gonna help such small businesses develop and establish a strong identity that will attract new customers. Second, if you're in a competitive industry, okay, investing in branding can help you to differentiate, provided you want to differentiate and you want to create an identity which helps you to stand out from the marketplace. Third reason is, let's say that if you are launching a new product or a service, and if you want to generate some buzz before the launch, investing in branding makes sense. So, during such time, small businesses should consider investing in branding. If you are expanding into a new market or new area or region or an operating location, investing in branding would help for you to make a presence and attract a wider audience, because if you look different, if there is a vibe to it, people associate these things with quality, and I'm not saying that you would always end up getting business, but there is a probability you can influence people towards your direction. Okay, rebranding. So, if you're a small business and let's say that you've been operating for a really long time, everything looks average, and you feel that, we should modernize ourselves. Okay, give ourselves a revamp look and feel so that, the employees feel motivated, our clients feel motivated, we feel motivated, our customers feel good, stuff like that. At that time, investing in branding makes a lot of sense, because it would reflect your company's values and goals and your long term strategy. Okay, so that is, addressing point number two, whether when should small businesses invest in branding. I'm just gonna keep it light so that, people can process this and it's just not me, giving you a dump of information. You're welcome to raise your hand, and if anybody wants to come up and ask me questions with regards to what I have spoken, you're welcome to do so. And what I will do is I'm gonna play that song. Oh, okay. So we have somebody who is willing to come up and ask. Oh, Michelle, it's you, Michelle. How are you, Michelle?
Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So nice to see you. So nice
Oh,
to see.
nice to see you. This room is exactly what I needed. Because so I have not established my branding yet. For my jewelry business, my Pinterest business, I'm good at, but my jewelry business, I'm getting more into branding now with my clients, and I was like, oh my gosh, my own branding is awful. And so the title kind of caught me, like, why don't you need a brand to succeed? um but what I'm learning is, branding is important over the social media, platforms. So, any tips on that would be fantastic. So, thanks, Jason.
Yeah, yeah. I can actually give you tips on this. See, I'm not saying that branding is not important, but before you get into branding, I think you should focus on things which are very crucial for a business, and some business owners don't focus on it, which is your product quality, product or service, what the quality you bring. Focus on that, make it better. It may take you some time to refine and make it like really good. Okay, work on that first. Work on your pricing, product market fit. What kind of pricing you want to introduce your services or product at. Okay, overall customer service, marketing, advertisement, overall customers experiences. I feel when you start as a small business owner, your primary focus should be enhancing these components, because this acts like a foundation. Once you can have a very shitty product, positioned as a very quality brand. But when customer would interact with this brand, they would come to know the operation is shit. They would come to know that this is garbage, just, you know, beautified in a certain way. My recommendation to small business owners is that focus on the integral part of your business, customer service being one, product quality, and all those other aspects. Work on this, make that better. And once you feel that you have reached a certain point that my operation is good, my services which I'm offering is nice, I'm getting positive feedback, then it makes logical sense for you to transition to a brand. And then you can take that step. Does that answer your question, Michelle? I'm so sorry.
Yes, it absolutely answers my question. And I definitely think for my website, because I was like very into the pinks and the blues, and it just doesn't represent my brand. Like I'm earthy, inspirational, chic kind of brand. So I think I need to come up with like a really good color palette for all of that. So yes, thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I want to say is that, Michelle, that life is all about experimentation, and even businesses is all about experimentation. So whatever combination, permutation you want to try, just experiment it out and see how that makes you feel, how the customer, feel when they look at it. And they're going to give you some opinion and feedback, and based on that make logical decisions. And I think eventually you should be able to figure it out. Many people think that once you hire a designer, and once a designer help you with XYZ, that's it, you have to stick to it for the rest of your life. That's not entirely true. Your brand is like a human entity which is evolving on a day-to-day basis. It would have new things which you would learn, new ideas, new strategies, new plans. So you need to feed it and ensure that it has substance to grow. Yeah, that's the point which I wanted to make. Do you have a follow up question, Michelle, before we move on?
Nope, I'm just gonna sit here and listen. Thanks, Jason.
All right, all right, all right. So yeah, so the next question, which I would be addressing, is that is branding necessary for a company's success? Okay, and I know I kind of answered it, but I'm gonna just go in a little more depth. And the answer is no. Okay, many designers, marketers, brand strategists out there would say that branding is necessary. To some extent, it's true, but that does not say, I would not agree to them that that is 100% true. Some part maybe, but the answer is actually no. It does not contribute to your success. Now, see, if you have a unique product or a service, okay, and if it's actually filling a gap in the market, if your solution is actually much more effective than what is available in the market, people will buy your stuff irrespective how fancy your logo looks, whether you have a color palette or no. They would buy it because you're solving a major problem. If you offer exceptional customer service, your clients would be loyal to you and your business. You can still survive and sustain without branding, and you can still go ahead and attract new customers. You would not have to look fancy. Haven't you seen many old businesses which are out there, restaurants and hotels, who does not have even a signboard, but people, it's always flooded with people, and the location is always full, you don't get reservations, stuff like that. It happens, so it's not, I'm not trying to remove this out of thin air. I'm just speaking facts. Okay, so third reason I can think of is if a business owner has really worked on referral, word of mouth referrals. Okay, if they have a strong referral network, okay, satisfied clients whom they have interacted with would refer new businesses to them. You can have loyalty programs, you can have retention programs, which can make it exciting. You can gamify things to make it more attractive for them. Okay, next reason, uh, why branding for a is, the next reason which I can think of is low competition. If you're a company who operates your business in a low competitive environment or a very niche market, okay, solving a specific problem, then branding is less important to attract customers because you're catering to a specific need and you are an ideal solution. So you would be the first choice. So without much of branding, people would still be attracted to you, provided you communicate the value you bring and what you're trying to do in that market. As long as that communication is done properly, I think it's no brainer. If you end up doing collaborations and strategic partnership with other businesses or organization which is complementary to your business, okay, that means let's say that you work on wood and the complementary business would be a supplier of wood, or somebody who manufactures or does carpentry work. I think you get the idea. Complementary businesses. So if you have complementary businesses and if you form strategic partnership with them, you can use others businesses and you can leverage on them to get more exposure. In this way, again, you don't have to invest necessarily in branding. You can still get the upper hand without having a brand. So I don't know, guys, if you're listening to this, does this make sense? Give me a thumbs up if this is making sense. I sat down and I brainstorm on it, and I feel that branding is used as a buzzword, as a magic pill to solve shit, but this is not true. Branding does not solve anything. Branding is just one component, okay, of your business. You need to have all the other factors in place to make things work. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. It's just being very simple and straightforward to you. Now, let's actually move into the next question. What is branding and what isn't? So I'm going to focus on what isn't branding. And I love this author. His name is Marty Neumeyer. Big fan, follower. I have read almost all his books and I watched all his content. Now, according to him, I like the way how he expresses this. He says a brand is not a logo. Many people look at their iPhone and they see the Apple logo. They think that's a brand. A brand is not a logo. If you see the Nike sign, that's not a brand. It's also not a product. The iPhone, the product, or the Nike, the Air Jordans. Many people think when I have a superior quality product, that's a brand. That's not true. Many people think it's a promise. Some companies or most brands offer you good quality and customer service as a promise. Many people think that if companies offer this is also a brand. That's not true. For many marketers and advertisers, many of them say that it's a sum of all impressions or engagement. Now, impressions and engagement, these are important metrics to reach the effectiveness of a brand marketing efforts. But it does not, all these things which I spoke about, it does not capture the full essence of what a brand represents. I'm a brand identity designer. Many designers, such as myself, they say building a brand identity or a visual identity is also a brand. That's also not true because it can be copied, it can be imitated. Okay, no matter how bright and beautiful you make it, I can take inspiration from it and make something similar to it. So what Marty says that it's not what you say it is, it's what they say it is. And when I say, it's the audience. So a brand is not what you say it is, it's what the audience say it is. It's your audience perception about your product or service over the course of time. A brand is also not like a checklist which you strike off from your to-do list, like a logo, a tagline, a strategy, a marketing campaign. It's also not that. It's a person's gut feeling, about your product, service, or your company. Think about it, a gut feeling, how you feel inside. When you hold the Nike or the Adidas shoes, you get a sense, a feeling right in your gut. This shit looks good. This is good quality. I feel great when I wear this. It's going to enhance your confidence. That feeling which is generating from your gut, that is brand. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It's the result. It's also a result of all your marketing efforts which you make over the course of time. It's your reputation that is created in your audience mind over the course of time, and you can influence them to, to behave a certain way when they interact with your brand, but you can only influence them. But at the end of the day, it's the audience who decide what they make out of it. A brand, again, is like a human like entity that is constantly evolving based on the experience and perception of its customers. I'm going to take a halt there and pause. I want to have a sip of water because monologues can be very, very exhaustive. So, Michelle, do you have any question?
Um, I I don't. Well, actually, like, should your website, and you might have already answered this, match up with your social medias, like across all platforms?
As long as so it is very subjective. I mean, if you're focused on reels, no matter how much you try, I don't think it's gonna match, right? Because it's just gonna be you. If you're referring to just Instagram posts, still images, which you generally post, it's good to have like a color scheme, and it's good to have something which matches what you have. But again, try it out. Okay, just see how it goes. It's possible uh, people may not have concluded that the website look and feel is the right vibe. Maybe your audience from Instagram might be your ideal audience. They might give you a better clarity whether you should go with this palette or that palette. It's okay to ask questions, Michelle. You can always, like for an example, if somebody were to approach you for an inquiry, just ask them, how did you find me? What kind of content which you saw on Instagram attracted you towards me? Why did you take this step? Just ask them these questions. They will give you an idea. How did they decide? And what you can do is you can use that data to make it even better. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and thank you, Jason.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we have one more champ, Arun. Thank you so much for joining the stage. I don't know if you were paying attention to the whole
Yeah,
conversation. How are you? And
yeah, I'm fine. Absolutely. Thank you very much mm, to be in this show. Uh, what I think about the brand, what is brand? A brand is that the value you have delivered uh, uh, in your history. That is, I think, uh, the definition of brand. That is my perception. uh, you have shown various example and various element, but what are the net result is, what are the value you have delivered in your history, that will be your brand, what I thought.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I kind of agree with you. Okay. And at the same time, I also would like to say the value which you're offering, whether it's actually valuable or no, it's the audience who decide. So maybe you are actually
Absolutely.
offering a ton of value over the course of time, but for a client, it might just mean shit. Okay. So it is still not serving the audience, right? So at the end of the day, you are doing great at your end of the spectrum, but from the receiver's end of the spectrum, it does not mean them anything. Okay, can we say that?
Absolutely.
Can we then define the value part as a right way of measuring it? I don't think so. I feel that you should still learn from the audience and see. Again, not trying to justify I'm right or you're wrong. I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's a discussion volume, so we must not, repeat it to any particular definition and statement. So what I think, basically, what are the value you have delivered in history, and if that is proven and uh, touch to the customer and the audience, and that will be your value, and that will be your brand value.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of the value you deliver to your audience, and they have a certain perception about you over the course of
Absolutely.
time. That would be a brand. Okay, so when Nike, okay, I'm just saying Nike just for the heck of it. I don't really mean to use them as an example so that people can relate. If you were back in 1980s or 70s, whenever they launched, okay, just hypothetically I'm saying, they were trying to sell shoes and the back of their trunk of the car. Okay, now if you were a client during that time, by just holding the shoe, would you be able to have the same level of affection or perception you have for Nike as of today? So that's what I'm trying to say. So it's possible initially people may not get it. So it's like a long term effort. It just happens over the course of time. The misconception is
Yeah,
that many people
absolutely.
think is that it's like a magic wand, and if you just spin it once, that means if you invest in, let's say, a good logo or maybe stationery like envelope letterheads, if you have like a good website design, if you make a few beautiful flyers, that's it. What I'm trying to say is that's not it, because you would have to redo this consistently. You would have to handle all your touch points. You need to ensure that it's done in a professional way over a period of time without expecting any results. Okay, and keep influencing people, and at some point people will start speaking about your company in a certain way, and that's the time when you know that you have become a brand, and you have influenced people to feel about your brand in a certain way. I'm going to move on. If anybody else would like to come up and just chew my brain, you're welcome to do so. Why should companies invest in branding? Okay, first of all, if you invest in branding, it's going to give you more clarity and consistency. It's going to give you a roadmap. It's going to help you to understand what is your value, mission. You would have a clear understanding about your message. You would know how to walk the walk and talk the walk, or whatever you say. I hope that makes sense. It's going to help you to establish credibility in comparison to your competition. It's going to help you differentiate from your competition. When you keep your product next to a competitor's product, they should be able to identify and gauge this is a good brand. At least, you can influence them to feel that way, that this is a good product quality in comparison to the one on the side. It helps to create emotional connection. People often feel personal connection to a brand because they kind of share their values, belief, and they associate themselves with positive experience. Okay, it can also help you to foster customer loyalty, not royalty, but loyalty. Okay, you can retain and attract a lot of talent. Would you actually believe this? That many employees. Okay, I was an employee at maybe a few years back, and I used to join companies which were brands. Okay, and the reason why I used to do it is because I wanted to associate and have my career aligned with those companies. Okay, I saw myself being my value system and what they do to be very much aligned. I wanted to work with an organization which I'm really proud of. Imagine as an employee, if you have that sense of feeling, the same feeling can be translated and associated to a customer too. They also feel the same way. That's what we are trying to achieve. That's what branding does. It helps you to retain the top notch talent. These talents would be interested in working with you. They will stay with your company for a long time. You will have good amount of retention, good reduce churn, and you would be able to increase profitability. You can also facilitate expansion and diversification. Okay, a strong brand can provide a solid foundation for new ventures, make it easier for companies to introduce new products and services to existing customers, because you can use the equity which you have created from your existing brand and use that as a foundation to promote the next one. And last but not least, all these things lead to a better control over the price. Okay, you can demand good price. When you demand good price, it automatically increases your profitability. More money you make, the higher the probability of you doing something great with it. Either improving your business or enhancing your product or services. If you have better return, better price margins, you can take actually more risk as an entrepreneur. You can explore new areas, stuff like that. So I'm going to take a pause there. I want to welcome Leslie, my cool good friend. She's all. Thank you so much, Leslie, for being a part of this conversation. How are you? All right. So she might be in a spot wherein the connection keeps dropping down. So, anyways, so Arun or Michelle, do you have any questions before I move ahead to my next point?
Yeah, Jason, how basically we uh, uh, promote our brand digitally because this is a scenario of fast mover, and people are moving very fast in this age, in this you can say digital age. So how we should uh, promote our brand digitally in proper way?
All right. So I don't think there is a one size fit solution for all digital needs. I feel is that you have to be a little strategic. Okay, experiment with different campaigns. Maybe start off with small investable campaigns and gradually move up the ladder. What you can do is every time you launch a campaign and whenever you get a rejection or if you don't see the same results, try to speak to the audience and try to find out why they didn't buy. I know this question sounds very harsh and maybe it may just put you in a wrong spot. I have always ended up asking my clients after a discussion, why didn't you hire me? Okay, what is that I said that didn't connect? And I tell them that I just want to use it as a reference point so that we can work, we can become better. People like giving feedback. So I think if you gather enough amount of information and if you're strategic with it, and if you're able to listen to those needs, understand it, and offer a solution which really helps people, yeah, I think eventually you would be able to have that digital footprint.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Michelle, anything you like to ask?
Nope, I'm all set. I'm just again soaking it all in, Jason.
All right, all right, all right. Okay, I want to say hi to Leslie. Leslie, welcome back.
Thank you. Wi-Fi is a little wonky here in the East Coast. I'm in near Philadelphia. Jason, I love what you're saying, and so true. Just like I am really zeroing in on the secret sauce to branding myself, and for people to identify me and resonate with what I'm speaking into. So yeah, loving this conversation. Thanks for having me up, Jason.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to speak and address the important aspect now. Is branding a marketing tactic created by marketers and designers? I actually feel it's much more than that. I feel that branding is important, and but it's not the only factor that contributes to business success. And I've kind of given you guys examples before during this conversation. Focus on product quality, one thing at a time. Focus on product quality, one, pricing, customer service, marketing, advertising, the overall customer experience, website design, digital footprint. Focus one thing on a time and try to figure it out. Okay, but it's possible that many designers and marketers kind of overemphasize the importance of branding. And I understand why, because they want to sell it, because they want to make money, they have families to look after, they want revenue. Okay, but I feel that not all companies need it. So I would encourage designers and marketers who are out there who actually do this to be empathetic, okay, be compassionate, and really see if the person really requires it before offering solutions. Okay, be a little more strategic. That's what I feel. And And many people are passionate. Like, I'm very passionate about branding. I like it. Okay, can I look at my brand as a designer myself? Can I say that I'm a brand? No, I have not become a brand yet. I'm in the process. I want to influence people to see my business a certain way, but I'm still not a brand yet. It's going to take a long time. It's the innate understanding that, it's not going to happen overnight. That's what really makes a difference. Many people think it's a magic pill, and many people think that, by developing a brand and that's it, that's going to cut down and solve all your problems. That's not going to happen. I want to tell you the truth. Go ahead. I see somebody have joined the stage. Neeta, how are you?
Hi, thanks for having me. I just wanted to ask your thoughts on building in public when it comes to crafting a brand and figuring out what your unique value proposition is. And I've seen a lot of creators kind of ask, like, their audiences, like, which do you prefer in terms of like aesthetics, in terms of like content ideas, like sourcing different types of offerings from the audience itself in order to like directly address pain points. But then on the other hand, there is this thinking that people might not know what they want until they're presented with a specific offering. Like if you had asked people, 15 years ago, would you want something like an iPhone? It's something that people couldn't conceive of at the time because it just um, wasn't anything people had seen before. So how much should you allow audience feedback to inform your trajectory in terms of sculpting a brand and like figuring out what your unique voice is, and how much should it be should you stay true to your own vision because you think it might be something that people might not know that they want until they see it?
Yeah, I would not be able to answer this question, Neeta, because I would heavily rely on my client to give me guidance, because I'm a designer. I'm not the guy who is actually creating the end product. So I would heavily rely on my client to give me guidance as to, I would expect them to have done the research and all those interesting things before approaching me. Okay. What I would generally do is maybe sit with them and maybe brainstorm a bit as to, what kind of product market fit is. Maybe I would recommend them to work on a business model canvas, as a framework, just to see. Maybe ask them to create an MVP before, diving into the whole brand building thing. Okay, but I don't know how to answer it. I would definitely rely on my client. I would consider them to be an expert in their field, and what I would do is I would ask them the right questions and figure out how they perceive the brand, because when you create it, the owner or the founder has a perception how they want it to be positioned in the market. And my job is to help them reach that point, from point A to point B, bridge the gap. I don't know. I mean, would you approach it differently? I would like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think there is something to be said for what your industry you're in and what specifically it is that you're trying to do, because I find that a lot of the time one size fits all models don't work very well, but that there could be like certain metrics to help you evaluate which direction to go in. But yeah, I definitely, it makes sense that based off of what service you offer, that you would rely on the client to provide that information. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm always interested to know how other people approach that problem and their way of thinking.
Yeah, yeah. Let's actually take Leslie for an example. Leslie, if that's okay, if we can take your example.
Sure.
So Leslie, I had no experience when it comes to wellness, functional space, and I was completely relying on it. Would you mind sharing with my listeners what was your experience when it came to we kind of understanding and trying to discover your brand when I was working with you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, with anything you do, if you're going to do heavily, if you're going to be heavily involved with social media, podcasting, different platforms, working with nonprofit organizations and companies, you have to be really laser focused. Well, for me, I know everybody has their own little separate journey, and so you could kind of take like a alchemist a little bit from everybody to really find out what your true calling and what your niche is. But once I was very focused as to my intentions, my why, and my, really just zeroing in on that, it opened up doors. It opened up doors to really focus on my media kit that I'm now updating, getting headshots done, and sticking to a brand that is a walking, you walk the talk, talk the walk. I think you said something like that earlier.
I mix it up.
So people could convey and say, wow, this woman is in her 50s and she's eating clean, she's healthy. How can she help me? So that's what I'm parlaying, the way that I want that initial vision of who I am and what I embody, but also on the corporate side, when I created my website, the first thing that you see, boom, is a corporate setting and people sitting around a boardroom. And the one thing that I'm focusing on is jump starting your health and wellness to provide optimal health for productivity and revenue, increase in revenue and productivity in the workspace. So, and it took me a couple of years, it's 4 years in the making now. And now I'm getting people that are asking me more to go on radio, and they're seeing my vision and understanding how I could help them. So I might have gone off on a tangent. I'm sorry, but that is the way that is helping me. And you have helped me just really focus on my strategies, long-term strategies, short-term strategies, branding myself. So if anyone out there is listening, please give a shout out to Jaison. I don't know if you do like any kind of chats for, a half an hour, just to kind of a discovery call with people to see if they're in line with you, but that might be a great idea.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I do have an option to do discovery calls. Yes, you should be able to find book your brand strategy call with Jaison under the event comments. Click on that link. I should get the message and we will figure out a time. Okay. What I do like to ask you, Leslie, one other question is that when we both were brainstorming on a strategy for your business, did you expect me to know how the functional realm works or no? Like, was that a factor for you to decide whether to hire me or no?
The factor was, if you were in your lane when it comes to branding and marketing, we did share in depth to give you a better understanding and knowledge as to what is functional health,
Yeah,
what is brain gut health, but
absolutely.
at the end of the day, you had your tools to help me really focus on what my strategies were.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's what So, Neeta, I think that gives you an idea. Like, you don't necessarily have to be like an expert in your client's industry. You just need to know asking them the right questions so that you have a general idea which direction the client wants to go ahead with, and you guide them like a guide, like who's that guide from Star Wars, the guy who wears that hoodie thing. I think you guys get the idea, right? Be a guide and make your client your hero and show them the roadmap how to go ahead. Just ask them nice, interesting question. Anita, I know you unmuted. You wanted to say something. Please go ahead.
No, not at all. That's really definitely very helpful to know that, and I guess it also kind of maybe stems back to knowing like who your ideal like client persona is, and maybe ensuring product market fit that way. Not just like ensuring that your services are tailored to the client's needs, but also just making sure that you're attracting clients that you are most likely to be able to successfully accomplish their goals, even.
Absolutely. I must say that you have a lovely voice, Nita. Thank you so much for being a part
Thank
of
you.
today's conversation. Okay, and
Appreciate it. Thank you.
you're welcome. And we have covered, guys, why small business owners does not, they don't invest in branding. Is branding necessary for company success? When should small businesses invest in branding? What is branding? What isn't branding? Why companies invest in branding? And is branding a marketing tactic? So I think I have covered everything when it comes to a Q&A standpoint, but I want to still open up the floor for others who are listening, the 14 other interesting individuals who are patiently focused and paying attention to what I'm saying. I want to also let you know that under the event comments, click on the three dots on this audio event. It should take you to the event page, and under the event comments, you have something called as a customer ebook. It's a very comprehensive 115, 16 odd page I sweated my ass out creating it. I had to work for 15 hours non-stop. I had to drink I don't know how many numbers of coffee just to make that presentation. It's one thing is to curate and have an experience over the course of years, and it's another thing to curate everything into a single document, so that people can get an idea. So I would highly recommend people to take advantage of this document, share it with your friends, keep it to yourself, take a printout, do whatever the hell you want, but please use it as a reference and see if that really helps. And if you have questions, I'm not gonna bite you. Please reach out to me. Uh, I am not the Jedi who knows everything about branding. I know a few things. I'll try to be curious enough to ensure that I'm not gonna screw you over. We're gonna have a healthy conversation, and we will see if I can really help you. If not, I'm gonna ask you to find somebody else. Being very real with you. So let's open up the floor. So if anybody has any questions, please raise your hand. You're welcome to come up. I'm just gonna give it like a minute. And in the meantime, I'm gonna ask Michelle, Arun, Leslie, or Neeta, anybody, if you guys have any follow-up question for me while we are waiting for others to join.
Jason, I'll ask a quick question, and I actually got to hop off because I've got a meeting.
Yep.
But how do you like I talked about before, like getting your color palette straight for your branding? Like, I've done some research on it, and what colors complement, but how does one? Because that seems to be my biggest challenge is doing the color branding. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. I Okay, I can help you, but let me help you offline because it's a very specific question, and I don't want you to discuss anything private about your company on a live conversation. So I'll send you a DM privately, and we will have this conversation. I know somebody who I interviewed who is very good with colors specifically. Okay, I'm gonna shoot her to to your direction, and you guys can have a conversation so that if you want something really focused also. Okay, I'm going to give both the option. Does that help, Michelle?
Yes, and thank you so much. I'll be looking out. I got to jump off, Jason, but this was a fantastic room. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You joining the conversation. You made it fantastic. So I want to thank you for being here. Awesome. Awesome. So we have Felipe who is joining the conversation. So I'm just going to say yes. And all right. All right. So hi, Philippe. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Is it Philip? Felipe?
It's Felipe. It's Felipe.
Felipe.
But Jason, I love this conversation you all are having. This is an awesome conversation, and it's so important, I think, for people to remember, because I think people confuse the branding and marketing a lot. And I think when you have the advice you're giving that's so sound, people get overwhelmed with it. They try to take on too much. And what I've found is, branding is really just one of those things where it helps people understand who you are and really promote what you stand for. And I always use the example of the company I work for now. When I joined them 7 years ago, they were 3 blocks from my home. Okay. And it was a financial institution, been there for all my life. Not once did I realize it was a financial institution. I thought it was an office building, and I had no idea who they were, and they were in my own hometown. Fast forward 7 years now, and people know who the company is. They're aware of it, and they are familiar with the name. They see it on social media. They see us out in the streets, and it's strictly because of the branding. Branding. Sometimes people think they have to come up with the whole branding, ideas, and sometimes they're right in front of you. Branding sometimes is just letting people see what you see every day in your business, like highlighting your employees, highlighting your customers, highlighting your products and services, doing testimonials. All these things are supporting your brand as long as you are tying it back to what you do. And I just think that sometimes we overthink it and overcomplicate it, more than it has to be. Because I'll tell you right now, I do a lot of employment branding because I'm a recruiter and HR person, and for me, it was so easy because when I was walking around, the offices, I'm like, wow, this is amazing what you are doing here. Oh, what a cool event you're doing outside with your customers. I started taking pictures of it. I started putting it on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and that's how people started seeing, oh, I get what you all are doing. Now I see what your community efforts are like. I see that it means a lot to you. oh, I see how dedicated you are to financial education. It supports your values, but sometimes you just got to open the door and let people see it. So I'm very passionate about this. I could keep on going forever, but I'll stop there. But thank you for having this room, Jason.
Absolutely, Felipe. I appreciate your contribution. And since we don't have anybody else, I'm going to quickly make an announcement as to what would be our next event. So, apart from doing monologues, and monologues is something which I just started doing, I'm still not very good at it. But my condition today, when I say condition, my goal today was to finish off my session within 60 minutes. Okay, but I'm able to do that, so I'm very happy. Leslie, I want to thank you specifically for guiding me. If you're if you're out there, maybe she walked away because of a meeting, but she kind of suggested me, Jason, don't make it like a brain dump, because people don't have that much attention span. So keep it easy and light. So I've tried to make that 115-page long presentation as simple as possible. Oh, Leslie's here. So, Leslie, I was just saying thank you to you because I hope we were able to wrap things up within 60 minutes. Leslie, thank you for your advice offline, which you gave me.
No, you're doing an awesome job, and it's the engagement, like you're saying, and what Philippe just said is really having people come up on stage, talk, and with your branding, getting that out to the public. Every little thing you're doing, you're planting the seeds that will nurture and will grow. The more you get yourself out there, depending on what you're doing, for me, public speaking. As a matter of fact, in 5 minutes, I'm going to be recording Dr. Sandra Scheinbaum. She's a founder of Functional Medicine Coaching Academy, was just written up in Forbes, and we had a rapport on Clubhouse, and I used to come up and speak. And now we're offline friends, so that will be uploaded next week. So yeah, and that's on my podcast, Keep It Dirty. So love what you're doing, Jason, and you're just growing in leaps and bounds. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Leslie. I wish the same for you. I wish you success as well. Please pass my regards to your guest. Yeah, and what I want to highlight is that my next event. So I run a podcast on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, and Twitter. I simulcast every Wednesday at 12 Eastern Standard Time. Season 4 of my podcast, it's a business podcast. It's going to be starting from April 12th. I'm going to be interviewing a very interesting individual. His name is Elliot Kay, and he's going to speak about how to be an authority and be more giraffe. Okay, so join me, us or me on this insightful podcast session with this business coach and author Elliot Kay, as we discover the surprising ways a giraffe can teach us to become more effective authority figure. With valuable insights and experience, Elliot shares practical tips on building credibility, authority in your field while maintaining a curious and adaptable mindset like a giraffe. So that is going to be on April 12th, 2023 at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have the event already created. You should be able to find it on my profile under the featured post section. You should be able to find it there. And I'm going to be wrapping up this conversation. I want to thank you, each and every one, for your love and support. You take care of yourself. You have a blessed morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. Take care of yourself. Have a nice day.